Before you watch this video, I'd encourage you to first do the personality mosaic EA, and doing that will help you make sense of some of what we're talking about here. So the personality mosaic is centered around the Holland personality model, where we're seeing 6 different personality types: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And it's often described as centered around a hexagon with the personalities most similar to the ones next to them. So realistic is similar in some ways to conventional and to investigative, and most different from those across from it. So probably many of you will have adjacent elevations and less likely to have elevations across the hexagon. So many of these characters or personality types we can see in the show Home Improvement. And I'd encourage you to watch it just because it's a fun show. It's probably available on Netflix or Hulu or something. The realistic personality is well exemplified by Tim Taylor. Tim Taylor was very hands-on. He enjoyed making things, making bigger, faster lawnmowers, for example. He was practical, realistic, mechanical. He liked working with machinery and didn't really like the kinds of things that his wife enjoyed. He's not good with feelings. He didn't like, artsy things. People with a realistic personality tend to show up in fields like forest rangers, construction, farmers, police officers, carpenters, or pilots. The investigative personality you see with Wilson. Wilson loves to think about things, and that's he did a lot of exploring of ideas, which is very similar in some ways to what Tim Taylor did. Although Wilson is more exploring the ideas, and Tim Taylor just wanted to build something. He was much, people with this personality approach tend to be much more precise and scientific, science-oriented, intellectual. They like to study and solve math or science problems, but not so much good in terms of leading, selling, or persuading. People with this personality tend to require significant use of the mind. They tend to be things like professors, mathematicians, philosophers, and scientists. Not from Home Improvement, but here we see the next personality that's artistic. Someone who is has a high A personality tend to focus more on form and feelings, exploring new ways of doing things. They tend to be more expressive and creative, and they need a lot of flexibility in their work environment. So someone with this personality, we may see 2 different kinds of things. People who are influenced by what their environment looks like. And also people who may be more interested in the flexibility, in hours, and sort of run into some difficulties when rules are put on them. They tend to do best in creative activities. Although, let me be clear, just because you have a high A does not mean that you are artistic or have artistic skills. It's how you're seeing the world. And they tend not to do well in highly ordered or repetitive situations. They're often in fields with opportunity for self-expression. Back to home improvement. This is Jill Taylor, Tim's wife. She was high S, maybe high S and A. She was very concerned about emotions and relationships. She was a good, loyal, helpful friend and liked to help people. She actually ended up, I believe, becoming either a counselor or a social worker. Not so much machines, tools, or animals. So, that was not the direction that she moved in. And in general, Anna Rose research suggests that people whose parents were warm also tended to go into more careers where there was more helping people, things like teaching, counseling, nursing. The enterprising personality, and you see that here with President Bush, tends to be much more interested in selling ideas. He's more of a leader, energetic, ambitious, sociable, but not so much interested in what he's selling. So he's more interested in the persuasion piece. In general, people with this personality tend to avoid situations requiring a lot of careful observation and scientific analytical thinking. They're often in sales, management, or politics. The last of our mosaic is a conventional personality. They like order, they like following the rules, they like a set plan. So where a artistic personality might enjoy being in a class that didn't have a syllabus and that sort of followed the students' wishes, that would drive someone with a high C, high conventional personality just crazy. They like to work with numbers, records, machines in a set, orderly way. So they might end up being an accountant, for example. They might be an office manager or a secretary. They appreciate knowing what the rules are in that given situation. So as you're looking at your profile, first off, think about, how did you approach things? Are all your scores high? Are they all near 13, 14? Or are they all low? So maybe, your style is, unless you're absolutely sure you're not, you said no. I tend to be more of a sensitizer. You might not be surprised at that. I tend to look at the world and go, ooh, that looks fun. That was great. But not everybody approaches the world that way. Then the second thing that you want to do is think about which things were you high at. So I tend to be high at social, enterprising, investigative, and artistic. And those sort of flip around across time. So, that in general says that I am someone who likes thinking about ideas, particularly ideas related to other people, and that I like, that I'm really influenced by feelings and by the environment that I'm in. I also tend to like a flexible work environment. I work hard, but I'd hate being a 9 to 5 kind of person, being told that I have to dress or do things in a particular way. So those were my high. My lows are conventional and realistic. I believe that those skills are important. I like actually filling in a spreadsheet, but it's more because I want to see what comes from it. So, you know, I tend to be reasonably conscientious about things, but because I know that it would drive my students nuts if I weren't conscientious about things. And then from there, what you want to do is generate and evaluate hypotheses about your profile. So think about what kinds of things are going to be helpful or what things aren't going to be helpful. What kinds of, you know, I would not make a good accountant, for example, but could end up in a number of different kinds of situations. Being a professor is a great match for me, but so would be anyone in the helping profession, therefore a psychologist. And psychologist, because I like playing with ideas, is probably better suited for me than, for example, social work or nursing, which tend to be more SC combinations. So look at your profile. If you want to talk about your profile, get on Zoom and talk with me. And take care. Bye-bye.